Hello, everybody, and welcome to Jupiter at Night. My name is Chris.
My name is Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy, welcome. Thanks for joining me. Well, I'm so excited you're here.
I'm sending you to HR.
Jupiter Night. Jupiter at Night is going to be a nightly show, Monday through Thursday at jupiterbroadcasting.com in the evenings. It's sort of going to be the show you'll sort of cap your day off with, or maybe start your morning off with if you download the show.
If you're not crazy enough to stay up late with us.
Right, we'll have downloadable versions for you.
Yep.
Now, the show's currently in its infancy. We're in the beta stage. This is our third beta. We had a prototype, then we had a beta.
And we had a pilot.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was, a pilot.
So it's actually beta 2.
This would be beta 2. I don't know. It's very confusing. But really what we want to do is just kind of try to get a feel for the format. So today's episode, I got to get in the habit of saying today's episode. We're going to start out with
Maybe we should just say like the June 14th episode.
Oh, I like that. Today's episode of Jupiter at Night was recorded on June 14th, 2010. How do you like that?
I didn't like that.
No?
But
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
We'll keep working on it.
I wanted to take advantage of this nightly show. The first thing we want to do is get some errata out of the way. We kind of had a little bit of a boo-boo in...
We need a big like banner or something that says, whoops, our bad.
Yeah, our bad. We need the our bad segment. This will be the our bad segment. And we could actually say this yesterday when the Linux Action Show came out. We had an episode where we talked about, it was a story that came on our...
From the chat room.
From the chat room, but the last second before... I don't
down.
want to blame the chat room, that's why I paused. I didn't want to throw them under the bus, because it wasn't their fault. It was our fault.
Sure.
Last second, we got the...
It was also partially the fault of the site that published it. It was
fair.
a little bit misleading, but, if we actually read things, but who
Well,
does
that was because they had the Unreal game
Right.
picture in the article.
Uh-huh.
And so we saw that. We saw Unreal, and so
we kind of ran with it.
What we said was that the Unreal Tournament game for Linux had a download file with a Trojan in it.
Yeah.
And if you use the server version, that you might potentially be exposing yourself to the port or to the virus, because it would be opening a network port and accepting connections, things like that. What happened was it turned out to be an IRC server called Unreal.
Right.
Now, who knew, right? Who knew?
Apparently not us.
Not us. So, if
you're out there and you watch the last and you're panicking because you've been playing Unreal Tournament online or
You're
something,
safe.
Don't panic.
Now, if you've been running the Unreal IRC server, panic. Now you should panic.
Yeah.
It's okay. Feel free to
go out and get a new computer.
Yeah.
And send your old one to me.
They've probably infected your
I'll fix it.
microprocessor.
Yep.
You're screwed.
Yep. Your back doors are wide open.
Now, before we go on, I have got kind of a nasty short story to share.
Uh-oh. I just saw this show up in the Google Doc.
Yep. So you might notice I got a little futz here on my... I don't know what this futz is, but I know that it is futz.
What the futz?
So it's all of a sudden it became this...
It's not baby residue?
I don't believe it. It could be. This is only a supposition I am operating under at this point. But it's really kind of a cold day.
We're going to have to errata this tomorrow.
And I thought, I thought I'll throw on a jacket before we go out into the garage studio and do Jupiter at Night.
Mm-hmm.
So I grabbed my jacket. I'm standing in my office, and I noticed I dropped something down on the floor. Right after, I must have had something in my pocket. Nope. Spider.
You dropped a spider?
Big brown spider falls on the floor. I'm getting like the itchies right now even talking about it. And I think
who's in your jacket?
That might have been like his hangout spot.
Oh.
And so now I've got like the creepy crawlies all night. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's what that is.
They are moving a little bit.
Shut up. Just don't even say that. I'm not a big spider person, so that
Neither
was gross.
am I. We're both huge arachnophobes.
Yeah.
In fact, have you ever seen the old movie Arachnophobia?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know the part where they're watching a movie and the thing crawls out of the guy's nose because it was in the popcorn?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that. All right. Now, why don't we move on to one of our top stories that came out today?
Okay.
You ready for this one? Now, you're a big gamer.
Am
but
I?
You're not a big console gamer.
No.
But E3 launch date, it's not all exclusively console games, but it was kicked off with Microsoft's keynote, and who so far, pretty much unquestionably probably has the biggest headlines.
Yeah.
They came out with Kinect, which was Project Nite, and now we've got Kinect.
That is spelled Kinect. You probably already heard of it. If you haven't,
in fact, if you're going to watch don't we have some video footage? If you're going to watch the video version of Jupiter at Night, we'll show you some demos of it. You've probably heard all about it by now. If you haven't, you'll glean some of it from our discussion here. But I think what we kind of figured we would do is just sort of cover our things and our thoughts that we are going to draw from Natal here, because it's potentially a revolutionary new way to interact with the 360.
I thought that when they first unveiled it, I think a year ago at E3.
You did?
On
Castablast a long time ago.
I was really into the whole idea because it's basically motion capture without a device.
I'm with Manhattan OS in the chat room. I was just kind of pretending like it didn't exist until
so that you didn't get your hopes up.
Well, I suppose.
Let me clarify that. Remember
I just don't believe Microsoft can pull it off.
When Project Natal first came out, it was two things. It was not only motion capture, but it was also the ability for your motions to teach and for the software to learn. There was that whole interactive thing that Peter Molyneux was playing on.
Yeah.
And that so far is not around. So, but the motion capture is pretty cool looking.
Yeah, and the people that have tried it said it's very precise. Now, the way it works is it does have an infrared camera, and it also has a color camera, and it also has a microphone. And there's a lot of different things that they're doing with all those different pieces of hardware, including which what we're showing right now, if you're watching the video version, is they've enabled video conferencing. Now, it's only video conferencing from one Xbox to another, or from one Xbox to an MSN Messenger account.
Right,
but
it's all Microsoft.
At first I thought, well, this sucks. I mean, why would you want video messengers locked down like this? But then I thought, in the living room, you have a camera. I could totally see myself putting a Kinect camera up on my fireplace mantle, and then like calling my dad and my mom, who have an Xbox 360, and doing a video chat.
If you look at it from Microsoft's point of view too, if it's exclusively theirs, then everybody's going to buy their machine. So that's a big thumbs up for them.
I mean, to me, it seems like initially with what we saw demoed, Kinect is more of a general mainstream audience thing. They showed some sports games. They showed some really good rafting games. I was really impressed. I was really impressed too with the way that the games could easily handle two players by stepping in and out of the frame without really kind of any cumbersome.
Now, these are pre-shot; they're not live demos or anything, so we don't know how.
I saw some live demos. I saw some live demos of people trying out some of the different stuff
and just stepping onto.
I watched them. I watched them step onto screen, and then and I'm not talking about the live demos up on stage either. And they would step on, and it would do this for some games. It would do this neat split screen thing, like the track racing game, and then for some games, like a rafting game, they would just be on the raft with them, and they would have to jump in unison, and they'd have to shift their body weight in a different way. It looked really cool. And then another one they showed off was this. I think it was an EA game maybe, and it was this really cool. You're in this 3D environment. You can reach out and touch and knock objects over. Of course, now it's all fake.
Yeah.
But it analyzes your body structure and kind of comes up with a workout routine, and it can walk you through yoga, and then it monitors 48 different points on your body, and if you don't get something right, it helps you get the right position.
Right.
That sounds really cool to me. And it's not just like the Wii where you could just sit on the couch and flick your wrist. It actually requires full body manipulation in order to get the response that you want.
Which, good and bad. I mean, I'm not a very physical person, so if I wanted to play a title that's Kinect only, I might not be able to play it for very long.
But and I know a lot of hardcore gamers feel like this. If I wanted to do this, I wouldn't be sitting down playing video games. Yeah. And I know that's just really the reality of the situation now.
But
this has a lot more of a social aspect to it.
There is that. There's the video chat and all that. But I think that's one of the things that Microsoft is trying to do with Kinect is to branch out beyond gamers and to try to bring it, because honestly, the gaming market is starting to slump a little bit. If you're not one of the major players already out there, it's hard to break into it.
Well, isn't one of the problems, too, with the 360s? It's just honestly getting older.
Yeah, the 360 is getting older.
Liven it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And maybe this is a little gimmicky to do so, but if it brings in new people,
I'm honestly not ready to call it a gimmick after seeing everything it can do. The interaction with the menu system is very Minority Report. The interaction with the EA games that they were showing with the fitness game, if you combine that, now this will probably be the next console, the next iteration, but if you combine that with 3D glasses, this way that they were interacting with objects, and it was Iron Man, like she would put out her arms, and these menu systems would on screen show up around her arms, and then to control stuff, she would go boom, boom, and she'd be able to just like flick her wrist like Tony Stark when he's talking to Jarvis. It was a lot like Jarvis. And now if you put on 3D glasses, so those things were actually in your space, that would be really cool.
That was one of the first things I said when we walked out of Iron Man 2 was I want a Jarvis.
This smacks of some elements of Jarvis. They're also introducing with it a whole set of voice command navigation for the 360, which includes like the commands for playing back media and stopping and all that kind of stuff.
Just the simple stuff. You can walk in and say Xbox Play, and it'll start playing your movie.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I guess I guess this is one of the things where it's really going to depend on the games, and it looks like anything outside the core Microsoft offerings aren't even going to be available until 2011.
Well, it's hard to come up with ideas for this kind of motion capture that's not a little gimmicky. However, there was one that's a Jedi thing, and I heard nothing but great reviews about lightsaber battles on this.
Now they did say too, the Microsoft spokespeople have said that they're really big on no controllers.
Right.
It's all picture, which means if you got to drive a car, you have to hold an imaginary steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a lightsaber, it's an imaginary lightsaber.
Right.
But how much do you like the idea of force push and things like that with
and just it happens.
That's kind of and there was also there was a force lift, and I also saw a force push where he could like accelerate himself and go in a certain direction, and he would do this body motion, and it would send him off.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. I don't know. We'll have to really see if anything develops.
You're right. The point that you were making is that the capabilities of this hardware really depend heavily on the software that's developed for it. So it could be a big clunker. It could just not take off because either people pull their punches and don't really take the chances that they could with it, or because we never see anything but workout fitness games, you know?
Yeah, that is going to be the problem. What they need to do, especially because the Xbox 360 does traditionally have people that do prefer a more traditional type of game, at least that's what seems to be what the stats would indicate. What about doing some sort of really light integration?
What I want to see is a built-in configuration into the Xbox with the Kinect, where you can say, when I do this, I want it to do this command as if I'm holding a controller.
So you want to be able to do system-wide gestures?
If I wanted to play Alan Wake on the Xbox,
which I just started today,
just without a controller, but I've set it up so that I can sit down and do the game like this. Just in the air in front of me.
So you want to be able to map at a system level gestures to any game.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that they're going to do, supposedly this was their vernaculars, every new Xbox title they're going to bring through the Kinect filter to see if there's Kinect features they can add. So you might just be something like as simple as
you're holding a controller, but
you're holding the controller, but the reload function might be a motion.
Or like there's something built into the game where you shake the controller around and I don't know, get up and down.
I like what you're saying, though. I dig mapping controls system-wide. That would be cool.
Especially if the camera is high definition enough that you could do as little as finger gestures.
Now, the
Because that would be very Jarvisian.
That would be. The rumored price is $150 for the Kinect itself.
Now, we should mention that this rumor is coming to us from GameStop, which isn't always reliable. They have been actually more reliable as of late. Like
yeah, but they kind of got themselves a bad rep for posting the prices on unreleased products that were way off, just to try to get people to pre-order, and then they'll either send out an email one way or the other, and then if it's an overcharge, they'll ask you, but it's...
Right.
I don't like it. Now, there's this whole part of this Xbox Live experience, too, is did you see some of the stuff they're doing with... And I'm going to save a lot of this for Lotso, which is going to be live this Friday, probably around 7 p.m. Pacific. But there's a lot of Netflix updates that are coming, a lot of ESPN streaming, some really exclusive stuff. A lot of multimedia stuff is coming now, too, that's going to be delivered over the internet.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of stuff.
And I watched EA's presentation today that they had at E3, and a couple of theirs really struck out to me. You know, I'm also very into the MMO scene, the massively multiplayer scene.
Who, you?
Yeah. And one of their games, Need for Speed, I thought, I was just watching racing game, blah, whatever. I'm not into racing. But then they brought up their auto logger, or it's called something like that is a complete matchmaking system with like social integration at the levels of Facebook and things like that, where you could see single thing that all of your friends are doing on the game. If they're online and you're having some sort of a rivalry with them, like trying to beat each other's scores or anything, you can get, just with the click of a button, all of a sudden you're in the same match.
And this is going to be for all kinds of consoles?
Need for Speed. This is specific to that game.
But do you know what consoles? All right, we'll look into it. Now, did you see...
Probably PS3.
Did you see the one last thing before we move on from Kinect, and when it comes to car racing, that it was able to have a guy walk around his car and then reach out and touch objects on the car, and it would bring up an informational HUD on that object. Like he could, like if he walked up and he could lean over, and the camera image would zoom down where he was leaning supposedly down to, and he reached out and touched his headlights, and all of this Jarvis information came up about the headlights. And then he walked around. He did a complete walk around the car, and then he walked over to the driver's door and opened it, and then.
And this was a live demo?
Yeah, a guy up on stage doing this.
How did he do the walk around? Was he actually walking?
Well, it was kind of like a mock walk around. He just kind of turns his body, and I don't know.
I've always been wondering if that would work. Like in a
the
game
mock and walk?
like the Jedi game. How do you run forward? I mean, like, do you have to, like, in your living room or
well,
what?
in their track game, you do. You have to sit there and go.
That's a fitness game.
Yeah. All right. I thought maybe this would be an interesting story, but I didn't mean to cut you off on the EA Sports live broadcast.
Yeah, EA's other big thing was this sports live broadcast, which I think is something that you guys might want to talk about on Lotso, but I wanted to bring it up just in case because it's, again, kind of blurring the lines into this massively multiplayer market. It's bringing all these sports games, and they only showed it with their new MMA title that's coming out, but they're saying that all of their sports games from this point forward
are going to use this social integration stuff?
It's a matchmaking system, but it also includes complete social sites, kind of like a MySpace sort of thing, so it's more of like your own space on the internet rather than Facebook's sort of feed and all that.
I don't really need any of that garbage.
But then it also, they will be picking random people. It seems like random people. Maybe I don't have all these details right. To participate in matches that will be hosted by EA themselves, and then those will be live broadcasted over this thing, and people will get to watch
and make comments.
Yeah.
And
that's also included with that is going to be live EA commentators, sports commentators, commenting on you playing the game against another person. So it's going to be this new type of gaming event.
That's cool. That does make it more of an event.
Yeah.
That does make it an event.
It's just going to be built into all their sports games from now on, so that might be pretty cool.
I like that.
I don't like sports games.
But you do like that whole...
But if I had a friend that has this MMA title and they get challenged to a match, I'm going to go watch them play it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on for the night, I thought we did cover a lot of gaming stuff this episode, but this is the Monday night episode, and E3 just kicked off today.
Yeah.
That was going to happen.
Yep.
That was going to happen.
You knew that was going to happen. If you didn't... Now you do.
Now you do. Mm-hmm. Why don't we end the story on the Sticky Bun Bandit? This will be our going out story for the night. This is a funny case of, now the robber was, he claims he was just hungry, Jeremy.
Yeah, he went into the Dunkin' Donuts, and his story is that he said, how much does a honey bun cost?
How much for a honey bun?
Yeah, and I guess he didn't enunciate very well because the lady behind the counter said, give me all your money, I have a gun.
Right.
Now, this guy has been arrested a number of times on robbery charges in the past.
Yeah, well, no, actually, what it turns out is it was 22 other circumstances where he was misunderstood.
Oh.
He was arrested 22 other times for burglary.
So he's not really the Sticky Bun Bandit. He's more of the Mumble Bandit.
Oh, I'm sorry, 23, not 22. 23 other times.
Wow.
And they just, hey... Some people have a hard time getting their words out, and they just want a sticky bun. You shouldn't arrest them for it. What has America turned into? No, this is a great story.
Give me all your money. I got it. No, I just want a donut.
We just recently had a locals version of this with some football players who busted into a place to get some donuts. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, they actually stole the donuts.
Yeah. I suspect maybe all of these are marijuana influenced, but that's just my inclination. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Jupiter at Night. We're playing with the format every single episode, and we'd love to hear your feedback. So wherever you watched it, give us a comment.
And until we've officially launched, you might not see this every other night, especially
right now. You won't be seeing it every other night.
Alan's out of town. Yep. One of the other hosts that will be rotating in. So chances are that over the next week or two, we will be taking quite a few nights off.
Yep, we're going to be using the time while Alan's away to fine-tune it, and I think that'll be a great time for really building, hopefully, what we hope to be one of our best shows.
I'm looking forward to doing this.
Okay. All right, everyone. Well, we'll see you next time Jupiter at Night comes out. You can follow us over at facebook.com/Jupiter Broadcasting to see new announcements for when the next episode's going to be live or when the recorded version has been released. And until then, thanks for joining us.